Hey all, hey ladies and gentlemen, who doesn't know me, I'm Simon, Simonas Brzezinskas. I'm founder of MSP Community Baltics. And today we have our annual event, sadly not on live, not on person, but well, hopefully next year we will be able to meet once again. So today we're going to spend a few of hours with professionals on excellent topics for MSPs, especially during this time when everything has changed a little bit, shifted in a people mindset and company work habits and stuff like that. So I'm hoping this will help you a lot to see and find something new. After that, we will have, of course, awards session and Q&A session with roundtable discussion. If any of you participants want to join our roundtable discussion, please write me during the event, and up to few guys who wants to join, we will add into roundtable discussion just to have more fun and better discussion, you know. So feel free to contact me if you want. You can see that there is a short break in the middle of sessions, and I guess we are ready to start. Are you ready, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. I give you the air then.
All right, let me share my screen. All right, so what I want to do today is I only have a few minutes. I want to go through automation in the context of remote working. Remote working is not new. We've been going through it for about a year now. For some of us more, some of us less. Some of us has been an ongoing thing too, but it's changed the landscape quite heavily, mostly from a security standpoint, but also from a operational standpoint. So I want to go through some of the things to consider on that. First, as I start, if you don't know me yet, I'm Mark. I'm the Ed Automation Nerd for Enable. So my role is to do anything to do with automation. So I write scripts, I give courses. Right after this discussion today, I'm doing an automation bootcamp for our community. My group is responsible for really just helping partners. That's really what we do. So if you didn't know me, that's really what my group is focused on, is just community and helping, which is super fun. Having said that, we've had really a perfect storm of risk. That we've seen a tremendous amount of scams. That is something that you have to consider as you guys have more and more working from home. But as the work from home becomes permanent, we're seeing more and more of our MSPs tell us that the work from home is going to be a permanent or semi-permanent fixture. People are in home environment, which means they let their guards down, thinking like, oh, I'm at home, it's fine. The posture of security is also unknown, in a sense that you as an MSP don't know what your customers' home environments look like, how secure their own devices are, and so on. And then there's been a ton of opportunistic actors taking advantage of COVID, of the changes and everything else that's been happening. So this is something that we want to make sure that we're ready for, and not so much ready. I mean, it's been a year, but you want to make sure that you're in a position to maintain, as this may become a permanent fixture for some of your customers. So one thing to do is talk to your customers and figure out, is the Wi-Fi at the home secure? Is it properly set up? Is there a guest access who may or may not share the same subnets? And then, is the work device also being used securely? We see, for example, a lot of people have their work laptops at home or work PC that they brought home being used by the children of the home, and then they install games and different things, which most of the time is not that big a deal, but you're also going to see them and start going through torrent sites to download more games and to download movies and to download this and that. And obviously it's illegal, but they're going to be doing that and bringing in a lot of risk into that device that is supposed to be corporate. We also we also want to find out, are the security measures that you have in place working properly? Do you have a web filter? Do you have a proper AV? Is it being maintained? Is it working properly? And all these things. And also, are you taking the time to keep up to date with your users and the current threat trends? For example, send them a weekly reminder. It's like, hey, don't forget these 5 things that happened in the last week or that are common. For example, us at SolarWinds, if there's any potential risk, or if we start seeing a trend in our spam, we get an email saying, hey, we're seeing an uptake into this kind of spam, please be careful. You as the MSP, as the advisor, you should be emailing your customers that periodically. One thing that we also see more and more is having an automated email that the customers can email to say like, hey, I have this weird thing, what should I do? Like a security@mycompany.com type of thing. Under the Wi-Fi, obviously, WPA2 should be used. Remote admin should absolutely be turned off, and ensuring that everything in the network is updated and secured, at least educating the customers to do it, because realistically, you cannot do that yourself. The customer, like realistically as the MSP, you don't have time to go to everybody's home and working through the whole homestead to figure it out, right? But you need to educate them to do that. For example, you want to make sure that they use auto update. Most home routers have auto update on the firmware. You want to make sure they have that turned on. A lot of them don't, or it's not turned on by default. You want to make sure that this is turned on. You want to show them how to do it, or you want to do it for them if need be, depending. This is on a Netgear device. Different ones have different things. You also wanted to discuss a secure work device usage. For example, it should only have work apps and only be work only. It should be a work only device. You should be maintaining your updates and apps. So using patching, automating patches through RMM. You want to automate third-party patching through RMM. You want to keep the device up to date and secure as much as you possibly can. Microsoft has had some very serious vulnerabilities in the last year. You want to make sure that you are guarded to some extent against it, at least by doing your part in that equation. And then obviously you can disconnect from remote sessions or VPNs when it's not needed. So you have the option in most VPNs to say if the VPN tunnel is unused for X amount of minutes, then kick it out. Also, you could have a script run to detect if the user is inactive, and if he's inactive for X amount of minutes, then kick him out. All of these little things have an impact on the security of the device, and thank you. I'm not sure why, guys. I've been muted by one of the organizers. Just be careful if that was not intended. So yeah, sorry. What I was saying is you want to leverage your RMM to do some of these things, right? Log out to the user if it's been inactive. If he's been inactive for 3-4 hours, he's likely gone for the day. You can log him out simply. Yeah, they may have some files open, but that's an education thing to tell them, right? Like starting next week, anybody who leaves their session open for X amount of hours or minutes, we're going to kick you out. This is to prevent that the children of the home will use the machine because they see it open. This is going to be to prevent potential remote attack and anything else you can. RDP has been found to be the single heaviest used attack vector. So you want to make sure that you have a security posture to log out the machines and to clean up and to have VPNs and firewalls in play. Also, obviously, don't share the system. Don't share it with family members. Don't share it with other people that are not supposed to use these work devices. It's a work device. It should be purely playing a work device. Again, safe practices to do. You want to advise your users to be wary of email scams and threats. My mom recently retired, but she still sends me those emails going like, I got this from PayPal and this and that. I'm like, Mom, you don't have a PayPal account. She's like, oh, right, okay. And then she sends me another one, Netflix. I have a Netflix alert. I'm like, Mom, you don't have Netflix, you use mine. She's like, oh, right. But she doesn't know what to do. And a lot of people that are not as technically savvy don't know what to do with these things. So obviously it's her home email, so it's not as big a deal, but she could very well give her personal information because she wouldn't know any better. This surprisingly happens at work as much. So you want to make sure that you teach them, you explain it to them to be wary of these. If you're not using a proper spam filter, you want to educate them as much as you can. Again, avoiding personal business on work computers makes sense. I mean, nobody's saying don't go to Amazon or don't go to Netflix on lunch, but at least minimize that amount of personal time on those computers. Don't open attachments you didn't request, just makes sense. Closely inspect the fields and things like that. So all of these things are things that you need to work on the education front that will pay on the back end. Now, like I said, you should, hopefully most of you have that email address like security alerts or whatever at your MSP.com, not your regular mail queue, but a separate one because it's easier to have. And then the customers can just send those alerts anytime he sees them and go like, I don't know what to do. Is that a legitimate email? And even if it wastes you 3 minutes of work, you may save 15 hours in the back end by not having a crypto virus. So having these separate alerts or separate places to send these threats, a really, really good thing to do. Another thing to consider as well, there is such a thing as a minimum level of security. Obviously, at the right end of the spectrum, we see people using EDR, mail protection, web protection, full patching, training the users, password with 2FA, and so on and so on and so on. Obviously, most customers are not going to sign up for this for a variety of reasons, one of them being cost and also being disruptive, because that can be a little more disruptive, right? But on the left side, the core, this should really be your minimum security offering. So you can automate your endpoint protection, your AV deployment through your RMM. You can deploy a mail protection very, very easily through your domain, through whatever solution you choose. Web protection, again, it's a checkbox in RMM. You deploy that, then you can use it. It's obviously a license, but it's nothing too dramatic, but it gives you the ability to protect the environment. One thing that I found with web protection is that you can use web protection to do a assessment, if you call it. You can call it that. So for a couple bucks, you deploy that on a few devices of your customers, and then at the end of the month or the week, you run a report and it's like, hey, here's all the sites that your employees are going to. Are you sure this is correct? Should we turn on web protection? This much money is going to cost you. And it's not fear mongering, but it's using the platform to explain and educate on what's actually happening. So you can use web protection for that. And patch management, you want to automate patch as much as you can. You don't want to have the burden of having to patch by hand every device. It's just not realistic. You may have 20, 50, or 100 devices, or you may have 20,000 devices, depending on what you have. Obviously, patching becomes a very big burden. I've worked with partners that have all kinds of sizes and shapes, and it's very difficult for them to do patching by hand, whereas you can automate that through platform incredibly easily. So again, this should absolutely be your bare minimum security posture that you offer and that your customers adhere to. If they can't adhere to that, there should be a tremendous amount of education done to the management and the decision maker there to make them understand the risks that they're putting themselves under. We've seen it with US companies, even though they're decently protected. We've seen that American oil company with the pipelines getting hit. We've seen all kinds of companies getting hit by all kinds of crypto viruses and malware and stuff. So you want to make sure that you at least offer and really push that minimum offering in your contracts. A few other things to consider as well. Obviously, we see this a lot in mostly in Europe and some of the places in the US. A lot of people still use Windows 7 because it's there, it works, it's fine. There's a lot of security risk at play by doing that. There's still some updates for Windows 7, but it's only for those that adhered and paid for the updates. It is increasingly expensive every year. So if your customers are not paying for those updates, they're not getting them, that means they're at risk. If they have their home PC that they use to VPN out to work and then remote desktop, that's a major risk. You need to get them off Windows 7. You need to discuss that with them. There's also other options to consider, right? Virtual desktop is becoming more and more popular. Microsoft has a very good offering. The workspaces from AWS is also a very good offering. And more we're seeing those. I used to work for an MSP that was focused on the security posture. Then he actually built his own virtual desktop infrastructure to sit on top of AWS. and it was amazing, but it's very expensive. So obviously it's not for everyone, but virtual desktop overall can be a very inexpensive, very secure way to do that. So if you have very security conscious customers, it might be something to offer them. Also, the corporate network security, even though most people are working from home, a lot of people are not looking at the corporate network as much, not monitoring it, not maintaining it, not updating it. Even though people work from home, you still need to maintain that, because there will be a day where they'll be fully back in the office, or at least partially back. Or you may still have your data centers, your file servers, and some data points there at the office, and you still need to secure that. And then obviously updating your VPN systems, your RDP gateways, and things like that. Like I said, RDP is the most common attack vectors lately, so you need to make sure that you're updated there. And then obviously, if your users are not using 2FA, two-factor authentication, it's really time to configure it, because 2FA is a bare minimum to really help reduce the amount of attacks. Because once you have 2FA, it's a tremendously more difficult to get in remotely. If they find your password, they can't get in. If they do a brute force, they can't get in because a 2FA will block them. So 2FA should really be something that you help them migrate. It could be a good revenue stream as well if you're interested, by saying, you know what, we'll do a small project, we'll turn on 2FA on all your systems, being your 365, being this, that, whatever else they have. And as you do, you charge them for the work, but also you increase their security posture, which will be better for you. All right. I'm not able to see the questions, guys, so just let me know if there's any questions I need to handle along the way. But what I'm going to do is I do want to demo a few things that you should, in the context of remote work, be automating. I'm going to look into a system maintenance one, something to put a minimum security level and also clean up on those machines. Then obviously just do a proper cleanup. With people working from home, they're starting to hog files, and they're starting to not maintain their machines as much, so you want to automate that as much as you can. I'll take a look at a VPN config profile that was built by a partner of ours that shared it with us, so I'll show you that. Then I'll show you how to monitor and restart OneDrive. That was requested to us by a partner on the office hours a month or so ago. You wanted to be able to monitor if OneDrive is not running, in case maybe it crashed. It actually surprisingly happens a lot. It happened to me about a week ago where OneDrive crashed. I didn't know about it, so it was not syncing anymore until you reboot. But I only reboot every 3 or 4 days. That means I had no syncing for 3 or 4 days. So if my machine was to die, I would have lost all these files that I didn't sync properly. But also, if I'm sharing files with colleagues by using OneDrive for Business, I would have not been able to sync properly. And it's like, hey, go check this file or share this, and it's just difficult. So using monitoring and restarting OneDrive if it's not running, it's a really good practice to do, and incredibly simple. And then finally, if you're not using automation just yet, I do want to talk about the automation calculator. This is something that we've developed years ago. I was part of the group that went through this creation, and we wanted to really showcase the amount of money that you can save in time by using automation through your RMM platform, because it sounds silly, it sounds like a sales pitch, but there's no money to be made here. You already own the license with RMM. It's just about using what you have to make you money. So you really want to optimize the ROI on the tools you already bought. So having said that, let's go through automation a little bit. So let's see here, that one. So on the workstation maintenance, if you've never seen Automation Manager, it's what it looks like. It's a drag and drop interface. It's super simple. You just say, I want to do X. So if I come here, I say, I want to do, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank. Let's say I want to delete a file, delete file. There's an object for that. I just drag and drop, and I say, here's the file I want to delete. Boom, it's gone. It's literally that simple. I want to do a folder, same idea. So, or send it to recycle bin if I don't want to delete it permanently, right? Like there's different options. But again, this just allows you to automate a variety of tasks in a very easy, or as we call it, low code or no code manner. You just drag and drop and you use. Now, if you want to learn more about this, you are welcome to come to the automation boot camps. or to just watch the recording on the Institute. If anybody want to see that where it is, I'll put it in I'll show it at the end, and we can go through that. It's pretty simple. But from there, this policy, when it was built with a couple partners of mine, one in the UK and one in the US. And the idea is we wanted to automate a lot of the periodic maintenance that a machine, in our opinion, should have. For example, everybody should have UAC, the user access control. You know, that pesky, do you want to run this as admin or not? Or this app wants to run as admin, is that okay? This annoying thing that is super important, a lot of people just turn it off. If you give your customers or end users access to admin privileges, they will very often turn this off because they find it annoying. But it is an incredibly important security feature, because they may run an exe or open something they think is an Excel file, and the Excel will pop up going like, do you want to be admin? They go like, wait, I don't want that. And then they'll click no. But if it's not even there, it will just do it. So that UAC is incredibly important. And flushing DNS is a best practice to do periodically. Some DNS have an incredibly long time to live, and that is configurable by the DNS service holder. So you want to flush it periodically just to avoid any risk or any issues with DNS. So that's good practice. Then we set automation, we set PowerShell to remote signed. That's a very important thing. If you're going to run remote scripts, it should have a proper certificate. So this allows you to secure remote PowerShell execution. Now, you don't want to prevent PowerShell altogether, but you want to at least restrict it so that people remotely cannot run it without having a proper signature that's approved. That's an important distinction. Then we have the option to disable RDP. In most cases, RDP should be disabled. Like I said earlier, I said it multiple times today. RDP is a very common attack vector. So if it is, we do a registry change to deny terminal services on that workstation. Now, if you're having a laptop at home, there's really no reason to have terminal services turned on that machine. As the MSP, if you connect, you're going to use Screen Connect, Take Control, whatever tool you want. So why would you bother to have terminal services? The customer is not going to remote control his own laptop because he's going to be using it. Now, if he has a work PC and he remotes to it, then yes, he might use RDP. At that point, that's separate. That's why this is configurable. But most of the time, you don't want that. Now, the next one that we did in that policy for security and for making it nice is that we disabled auto run. Every drive should have no type auto run, which basically means if you plug in a USB thumb drive, if you still have a DVD for some reason and you put a DVD in, should not auto run. Anything you plug in should not auto run, which a lot of it helps increase security posture. Someone I've worked with before actually did the experiment and took a bunch of USB thumb drives. They're fairly cheap, and he started just leaving them randomly in the street downtown in his city, and he put a malware on it that would call home. It didn't do anything nefarious, obviously, but it was calling home just like, hey, yep, someone did it. And he put them everywhere, and he started getting a lot of pings back. So people were literally, with no security, plugging a random drive they found on the street to see what was on it, and were getting hit by viruses. And it was not even a fancy drive. It was like 2 or 4 gigs, which for the time now, like these are they're $1 on eBay. The people were plugging them into their computers without knowing what was on it. So disabling auto run is a good practice. If people are going to do these kind of things, you want to protect them from themselves. So that's a very good thing to do. Then another thing that we recommend is, for laptops anyways, is disabling sleeping when the AC power is plugged in. A lot of people, for patching, you'll tell them, leave your machine turned on at night so that we can patch it. They'll go, yeah, no problem. But when they turn it on and they leave it on, the machine will go into sleep mode after 20 minutes, and then you can't patch it anymore. Well, if they leave it on, it should not go into sleeping if power is turned on. They should want to sleep it, or they want to leave it on, like either or. It should lock itself, no question, but it should not necessarily go into sleeping. So we disable hibernation and sleeping if power is plugged in. Then we check if Windows service is running properly, and if it's not, we start it just to make sure everything's clean. Then we enable Smart Screen. Smart Screen is another one of those things that is not enabled on most machines. I don't know why, but I've seen that it's turned off. I think sometimes by default. I think my machine doesn't have it anymore. I have to turn it back on. Smart screen is one of those, when you put an exe on a machine that it doesn't know where it comes from, it's going to go like, hey, I don't know this exe, should you run this? Even without admin, it will at least say, are you sure you want to run this? I don't know it. Or it's going to say, here's a signature on it, is that legitimate? And then you can decide. So it's like UAC but slightly different. It should always be on in our opinion, so we turn it back on. Another thing that we do, we disable fast start or quick boot. The reason that we do that is that fast start or quick boot, yes, it boots faster by a few seconds. That is a Windows feature, but it is much more, I want to say annoying, but that's not the right term. It is, it has some issues to it, right? Like it doesn't boot Windows fully. Some people have problems with it, so it's good to just turn that off altogether. So we disable it. Then delete temp files. Then we start Windows time if needed, if it is turned off, and then we sync the time to a time server of some sort. The time is because if you start having clock drift, it will no longer be able to authenticate the domain controllers. SSL will start to fail and things like that. And we've seen this more often than we'd like to admit. So it's good to have. So this policy, I've explained it for the last 5 minutes or so. It does a ton of stuff. You go into RMM, you click run, and you push it to all your machine. You run it weekly. It costs you nothing. It's in the cookbook. I'll make sure that the guys on the call will give you the links afterwards. The guys from the team. That way you can have the links to it. But it's literally it's free money. You run this on all your machines. You show value to your customers. You secure the environment. You reduce possibly the amount of calls you get for silly things, and this just gives you a more complete secure environment, again, at no additional cost. That is the thing that I find quite astonishing, is that you already pay for the license, and a lot of people tell me like, I'm not going to use automation. And I said, that's fair, but really you already pay for the damn thing, right? So why not at least try it? So this one is a really, really good one to try with your customers, because you say, I'm going to do these 10 things, and they're like, well, how much is that going to cost me? How about nothing? Just to show a good faith, I'll do that for you. And similarly, you can do a self-healing on your disk. If the disk goes over a certain threshold, run this. This clean manager is the disk cleanup in Windows. Delete temp files, delete temporary Windows install file, delete previous installs. If you've done upgrade from Windows 8 to 10, the previous install might be 10, 20 gigs in size, and it stays there forever unless you choose to clean it. All of these things you can choose. Old debug dump files whenever the machine crashes, which surprisingly happens. Mini dumps as well, that's good. You choose what you want, and then you run this. So when the disk C is full, you do a self-healing and you clean that. That's another example of a very simple, very effective policy that you can use. Now, again, I'm going somewhat fast over this. First of all, I only have limited time, but also all of this we cover in our boot camps and our courses that we give. Again, we don't charge for this, by the way. This is not something that this is a money-making thing. This is just because we want to help you guys. But it is something that you can use. Now, another one that was requested that you guys wanted to see was creating a VPN tunnel. Now, this one is for Fortinet, for FortiClient, but different VPNs have very similar ones. I have a couple examples in the cookbook of different VPNs if you go search for it. But this one, for example, here, will check, does the key exist? If it doesn't, it creates it. And then it goes through and it creates the VPN. So when you run this, you put the tunnel IP, the description, the server name, and everything. And it basically creates all of the information about the VPN, so that your FortiClient, when you turn it on, already has a profile created. Because you can install FortiClient in a matter of seconds. There's a policy for that already. But then when you try to explain to your customers, click on new and then put in this IP address, put in this name, put in this flag, they're going to go like, I don't know what to do. Can you just remote and do it for me, please? And when you have 5 machines, not a big deal. When you have 5,000 machines, that's a big deal. So this automation can save you hours and hours and hours of work by just saying any machine, run this once, and everybody has a VPN profile ready. Again, the longer people work from home, the more you're going to start doing PC replacements. The last year was a big adjustment. We did not see that much PC buys because PCs were expensive. It was difficult to get to. So now what we're starting to see is people are starting to do migrations and upgrades and cleanups again. And as they do, they realize, okay, I need to replace 100 PCs, but they're working from home. Well, OneDrive will migrate your data easily. But then after that, right, you have to install all these apps. Okay, use Chocolatey for that. I want to do configuration of my VPN. I want to configure this tool, and so on. So as you do, that's where you use automations like this. So these are all things that you can leverage. Again, they're in the cookbook, no cost, just go and grab them. The last thing I want to check with you guys is show you is the automation calculator. If you have not used automation just yet, this is a calculator that what we've done, yeah, whatever. We've done, you can choose different currency. I'll put euro for the time being. I don't know which one you guys are on. What the idea is, you go through how many employees your customer has, how many servers, how many this and that and this and that. And based on that, when you fill all these blanks and you put how much does your employees cost you as the MSP, this will show you how much monthly and annual savings you can make. So for example, here, you see that monthly you could automate up to about two-thirds to three-quarters of some of the work. And it sounds silly, it sounds fishy, I get it, but honestly, you could build proper monitoring and configuration of patching, and monthly per machine, you would be spending about 15-20 minutes to do it by hand. With the automation, it would spend about 3 minutes just to basically clean up and check whatever is missing. Mitigation on maintenance, like I showed you earlier, syncing the time, updating Windows, things like that, you could be spending hours and hours going down to minutes. So all of these things, they actually reduce dramatically how much time you spend, and that's where the savings really come into play. So take a look at this, take your time, and really realize how much automation you can do through RMM, through N-Central, through whatever tool you use. And then you'll be surprised at how much cost saving there is. And again, I'm really being very openly honest about this. The idea is not to reduce your staff and get rid of people. The idea is everybody worldwide, we're seeing this. There's a shortage of employees, very, very difficult to find good staff. So what we are suggesting is use these cost savings to help you grow. A lot of partners are saying, I'm trying to grow, I can't find more techs. That's fine. Use automation to fuel your growth. I have a partner that went from about 3,000 to 4,000 devices, and he went all the way up to 16 in the last 5 years or so. Obviously, some of it was acquisitions, but he actually acquired a lot of customers as well. And that growth was fueled heavily with automation. I spent about a week with them on site. They were in the middle of a cornfield somewhere in the rural US, and I went to work with them, and I showed them how you automate patching, how you automate your deployment, how you automate configuration, tweaking, this and that and this and that and everything. And after I did that effort with them, they started using this to fuel their growth, and they said they quadrupled their device count and barely doubled their staff. And that was the idea, is we did not want to get rid of anyone. We wanted to be able to use automation to use the staff at a better usage, and that fueled that increase in that automation. So really making a lot of sense. And I think that's pretty much it. I will sadly not be able to come back for the Q&A because I will be at the end because I'll be giving a boot camp, but I did want to have at least 10 minutes in case you guys have questions for me. But again, I cannot see the questions. If there's any questions, can you guys let me know? Maxim, Mark, just let me know if there's any questions for me that I can answer or demo or show. Anyone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a few questions. One of them was, can you share the Excel file with us?
Yeah.
So of course, I asked ask her to write me an email, but I know that they can find it in an institute, as I see that you want to show it. So
yeah, let's take 2 seconds. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
If you go into the Success Center, so success.enable.com, I'm sure the team will give you the links for that after, but you go to Success Center, you go to the Institute, you go to Content Library, and then here, calculator. When you search for calculator, you'll see the automation cost saving. That is the one. You click on this, and then there's a little module. It's pretty, and there's stuff, and there's talking. So just click through and just skip go next, 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 and here's the file. So just go all the way down, but this explains to you how this works and everything. It's super nice. But just click here and download a copy. But you guys are welcome to just share it directly if you want. But if you want to get it yourself, you can get it from the cookbook, from the institute.
Also, I shared one more question, not sure if you can see. Do you have comments on using backup to move all settings to new machine? Some automation on top of bare metal restore to get license keys and everything needed to match new computer?
It depends. I don't have one, for example, to go and grab keys for a variety of software. A lot of software, understandably enough, encrypt their keys. For example, I just rebuilt my PCs this week, last week, and I have, for example, Camtasia for screen recording. And there's a license for it, but there's no script or automation I can do for it because the key is encrypted in the tool, and the only way to get it is to go into the help of the software under a specific section and then request it, and then it gives you your key back. So a lot of tools actually are like that. Now on the Office front, it's usually your email. Some tools will let you get the keys, but more and more keys are becoming obsolete as people are going to logins. We see that with the Adobe suites, we see that with Microsoft suites. More and more they're going away from keys, going to email registration, which is making it more and more difficult. So I don't have a good answer for that portion of it. You can do a BMR. The BMR typically will migrate your license because you do a full restore. But yeah, more and more, this is going to become a different type of issue. And yeah, sorry, someone wanted to see the OneDrive thing. Honestly, the OneDrive thing is super simple. It's under monitoring probably. Where did I put that? Is OneDrive running? There it is. This is also in the cookbook. This one, very, very simple. It checks, is their user logged on? So if the user is not logged on, OneDrive is not going to be running. So that is important to know, because if the user is not logged in, it won't be able to use OneDrive. So is he logged in? And then check if OneDrive is running. So if the user is logged in, and if OneDrive is not running, then fail. So basically, this is a monitoring to check if OneDrive is running. So if I run this on my machine, there you go. Let me make this bigger. It's basically telling me here, okay, you're logged onto your machine. Yes, I am. And then is OneDrive running? Yes, it is. Now, it doesn't check if you're logged on because there's no way to do that. Microsoft does not give you any APIs or any ways to magically do this, sadly. But it at least checks if it's running, which is 9/10 of the battle in this case. And then this will detect if it's not running. Now, I like to do it as a monitoring and a self-healing and deploy that through a template or whatever mechanism. And the reason I prefer that is that it gives you an alert in RMM, so that if the self-healing does fail for any reason, you would be able to get an alert and go and act on it. Also, at the end of the month, you can do a report through your PSA, through your ticketing, and say, hey, Mr. Customer, here's all the issues I worked on and automated for you. Whereas otherwise, you'd be like, oh, well, it does stuff in the background and you wouldn't know. And it would just be like your secret sauce, but the customer wouldn't know what you do. So this is the monitoring part. But then under automation AMP, hopefully I have it somewhere handy. Restart OneDrive. There it is. Basically what it says, is OneDrive running? If it's not, run it. And by doing this, as the logged on user, as a self-healing, it will detect on the other one that it's not running. And then the self-healing will kick in and will restart OneDrive if it's not running. And that will give you a comprehensive way to keep OneDrive running on that machine and always syncing. Once again, it's very, very important just to keep that information. And again, it's in the cookbook, so it's easy, it's free, just use it. But this will make sure that at least your file syncing is working, and that is a very important thing. In the context of working from home, you don't have access to those machines directly as much anymore, so you need to make sure that your files sync properly in case there's anything that goes wrong. And that's what that one will give you. Sorry, I forgot to show it, Mark. And that's it. Any other questions?
No, I don't see any more questions.
Okay.
I will put a poll of just to see how people, you know, evaluate the
Yeah, no worries.
session, how they value it, did they like it, so we would know.
No problem.
So far, results are very good.
Okay, no worries. Again, guys, as I finish this, don't forget, automation is not a one size fits all. Everything is different depending on your market, on your needs, on your customers, on whatever you do. So what I always recommend is educate yourself. Take some courses with Alticom if they offer it. Take some courses with us. Again, the course that we offer, the boot camps, are completely free. We don't charge. The idea is not to make money off of this, is to help you fuel your growth. If you guys grow and do well, you buy more from Alticom, you buy more from us, we all win. It's a win-win. It's easy. It's organic. So the role of these courses is really just to help you guys. Like, I'm doing this today. I'm not saying join today because you want to stay for this, but the next time I give it, do that. At Empower this year, we're doing those courses, a variety of them. My group is doing a tremendous amount of courses, and again, they're all free. It's just to give you guys something back and help you learn. So if you have the ability, go join. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. Just come and join us and learn. It's a very, very good opportunity. And yeah, I'm sure they'll give you guys all the links for that if you don't have them already.
Yeah,
That's it.
we will provide after event.
Excellent.
Awesome.
That's all
Thanks, Mark. Hope to see you soon again. Last time was like half a year ago.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
GG, are you there?
Yes, I am. I was struggling to unmute, but there we go.
Awesome. Are you ready?
I am 100% ready.
Then I give you all the air, and I wish you luck.
Thank you. I'll kick things off here in just a second.
It's fine.
There we go. So good afternoon, everyone. This is all right. I go to the next page, so everybody has also a little bit of a view of myself. I unfortunately can't use the webcam in my security locked computer, but that's me. Ines is my first name. That's why everybody says JG, because that's a complicated name, even in the Netherlands where I am. I've been involved in the backup software since actually the beginning, and that is 17 years ago when we started this company with 4 people. And I'm still around and helping and assisting all our current customers in making sure we get the maximum out of the software and that everybody understands it to the full extent. So just a few things for today. As you can imagine, well, everybody is aware, obviously, already that there are on mute and there are already questions happening, I see. So that's good. In the chat or in the Q&A, that's both an option. Please do ask questions if you have any of those, and that's going to be fine. I'll do a quick presentation just to kick off sort of the framework we're talking about today. And after that, I'll go directly into a live demo. And if you have specific questions also in the demo, please let us know. All right, so far so good. Let's kick it off. We like to talk about image level backups today, and specifically about, is that the best approach or not? And we have a few of our current customers that are talking about their experiences with our software and with us over the last years. And this is an interesting start quote to see from our customer, from Dragon Information Systems. Because this customer thought they were just doing the best because they bought, in this case, V. Like they said, nobody was fired for buying IBM in the past, and that is very true. But what I'd like to ask everyone here is just forget anything you know from that type of backups. Just don't forget everything you know about file or folder backups. Forget everything you know about image level backups. Let's start with a clean sheet here today. So, image-based backups. They are obviously easy to make. if you have software that does it, if you have Veeam or Altaro or StorageCraft or anything like that, as you can imagine, it is easy. You just select the whole computer and it will make a backup of the image. They are complete, and they are always, well, in the last years have been promoted as sort of the standard. That's what you need to do. So images are mainly, they're easy. And why is it images? Well, they say, yeah, file level backups. That's not working for a full server restore. That's just it's slow. It's for if you lost 1 or 2 files, it's good, but that's sort of the only use case that there is. And that is definitely a wrong part of information, but that is what most people have heard over the years. So, but that is not the point. The point is, do you want image level backups or do you want image level restores? And that is that's the whole discussion here. You want image level recovery. You don't really care about the image level backups. The problem is backups are insurances. You need a backup in case something goes wrong. That's the whole idea of backup. And when it goes wrong, you don't want to follow a 16-step procedure to get your computer back. You don't like that. If that's the alternative versus a one-click restore, obviously I understand what you would pick. But you want an image level restore, obviously. You want to have a simple restore procedure that will just do whatever you like. It will just bring your complete machine back in a single process to a certain state that you require. And if you want that, most people think, and that's not wrong because that's how it has always been, most people think that if you need to recover an image, you also need to make a backup of the virtual machine like that, or the physical machine. But the interesting thing is, and then this is the main point for today, you don't need image level backups to recover an image. And as you see here in the screen, a virtual machine is just a series of files organized in a very specific way. And we know the way. And we know that we can make backups of files of all the system state, Exchange, SQL, all these things. And we can get them back into a virtual machine. And that is really the main takeaway for today. And I'm going to show you why we think that's an important and good idea. So image-based backups, specifically if you look at the competitors I was just talking about, they're mainly made for bigger enterprises, local, multiple data center type of stuff. And that sort of moved a bit into the small and medium businesses. But if you run an image level backup that requires an appliance locally and anything like that, a repository, it means I had a customer in Sweden. They had 200 licenses out there spread over 100 physical locations. They had 100 devices collecting backups, and they had 100 synchronization processes that were not ideal, I can tell you that. And the monitoring of that process is also very painful. So image-based backups are not made for that. They require local resources in most cases, and that will complicate and overcomplicate the situation significantly, especially for managed service providers. So let's dive a little bit more in the technology behind it and what's happening here. What you can see here is change rates. Change rates is super important. If we're going to talk about backups, obviously backups are changing on a daily basis, and the question is, what is changing and how can we identify that? How can we send it over the internet? How can we store it? And what type of retention are we going to offer? So if you look at this vendor one option, that's not us, but somebody else, they they have 27 gig of storage needed after the first backup. And then you do another backup of that virtual machine. That's a 45 gigabyte machine. And then just 7 gigabyte is added right away. That's 15% that is added. Suddenly you're storing 34 gigabyte. Well, you can see how this goes. After 10 days, this is from 15 to 25 of September, we are looking at an 81 gigabyte storage requirement. And also you were sending 5 gigabyte on a daily basis, sort of. We look at another vendor. They start at 22.3, they grow to 64 with a change rate of, well, also significant change rate Smaller, but still very, very significant. And if you see this in a marketing brochure, like, yeah, we can reduce your daily backups to only 4%, most people think like, oh yeah, that's okay. But if you then start to increase the frequency, and if you start to increase the retention, that really quickly becomes an issue. Because if you're looking at my 500 gigabyte example here, it's a computer of 500 gig, which is not strange. If you have a 6% change rate or a 0.1 change rate that I'm going to show you, probably even smaller, then we're talking about 30 gig changes or 500 megabyte of changes. And if you do that, it's 60 restore points. So 60 times 30 is 1800, or you're going to do 60 times a half, that's 30. So you can already imagine that for our software, you would only require a small percentage of storage. That's already one for backing up this data, including all these versions. And I still think that 60 days of retention, single backup per day is not very interesting. You can definitely do way better. So if you have a smart way of detecting change rates and being smarter in backups, and backups from inside the virtual machine are smarter than from outside the virtual machine, that requires obviously your storage requirements. So if you have local storage, it requires, in my previous example, you can see you just need a very small portion of your storage there. So that's one thing. But the other thing that we're talking about is bandwidth. It's not only talking about how many storage. A decent backup is a backup offsite, not locally. So it means it has to transfer the data over the internet every time. And if you have 30 gigabytes, and you want to send it within 1 hour, you need 68 megabits upload versus 1.1 megabit upload. That's quite a difference. And this customer says that the backup took 8 hours and now in 10 minutes done. And that's because obviously they're smaller and quicker. But with that, it's not only about the actual upload, it's also about the frequency. And I'd like to show you this in our demo in a few minutes. If you do this the smart way, our software will reduce your backups to minutes and not hours, like literally minutes. And we can then start thinking about, we're not going to do 1 backup per day, we're going to offer a higher service level. And that is very, very powerful and valuable to your customers as well. If the customer gets a ransomware attack at 4 p.m. and you need to do a restore, and the restore is from last night, they sort of worked the whole day for nothing because you're going to move back to yesterday. If your backup takes 5 minutes or 3 minutes, you could easily suggest an hourly or 2 hourly backup window instead of backup frequency instead of every 24 hours, meaning that if you sold them that and if you offered them that, your restore point is so close, so much more close to reality that they didn't lose a lot of data. All right. And then obviously the last point on this specific topic is retention. Anything you don't have to send over the internet, you don't have to store. So if you want to have a 90-day retention or you want a 60-day retention with hourly backups, we're talking about 24 backups per day times 60. You can imagine how many restore points are available at that point. That is technically possible, but in theory, in real life, it's just undoable with these massive change rates. Nobody wants to do that. So what happens with image backups? They just stick with once a day backup for only 15 days because then the storage is already consumed. And that's painful to see. All right. And on top of that, they are not as reliable as you'd like them to be. And this is not what we say or what we think. This is what our customers told us in numerous interviews about specifics. And we can share this presentation afterwards because there are a lot of quotes that I'm not going to read from the screen, but they are definitely valuable quotes from our customers. Okay, we're getting pretty far in the presentation already. We'd like to talk about operations because backup is labor is one of your biggest expenses, and you don't want your backup solution to eat up all that, those labor time, obviously. So backup should be simple and should be easy, and it should be reliable, and that's also very important. If you look at the reliability, customers, they told us that they had in the previous time 300 alerts, and now it's just a few. They see that that it's going to from a few full-time FTEs. We're talking about partners here that have over 800 900 servers under management, so they're decent sized partners. So there are significant wins if you pick the right piece of software, and if you pick the right approach, standardization. There is so much more to gain from reliability and scaling thing, that you also that it first of all doesn't require a lot of resources, and second of all, it doesn't require your highly skilled resources. All right, and obviously if that happens, your technicians will also have different stuff. You can use, as we show you here, the tier 1 tags versus tier 3. And also you can add other billable projects. It's also more fun to do other stuff than backup checks. Backup checks are not the most interesting thing to do anyway. It worked or it didn't work. And if it didn't work, depending on the software you use, yeah, and then. So if you look at the overall impact, we can offer a better service at lower cost, higher, happier technicians even, and your peace of mind is improved. And this will show in the amount of hours and all these things that we just talked about. If you combine all the things that we discussed earlier, you'll see the power of the software to its full extent. With that, I'd like to move directly to the real life demo. That is where we say showtime. If anyone has a question, by the way, please let me know. I went through this a bit quick. I know it was on purpose, but I'd like to make sure that everything I told you is now going to be shown in real life, so that everybody has not only the theory but also the real life ideas about it.
GG, if you mind, I'll give quick poll to attendees just to have some understanding, about this solution, like how happy they are with their current solution. Are they thinking about, testing maybe what they already saw a little bit and what they going to see in the presentation? I usually give like 60 seconds to vote. So guys, if you're just listening, not watching, please just press a button very fast and keep scrolling. Votes are popping up quite fast. So thank you guys for voting. Thanks once again for all the attendees. I see quite high numbers from you. Nice to see that. Ten more seconds, guys. Those who still want to vote, do it. Thank you all for voting. GG.
Yeah.
I'm giving back you your screen. Thanks.
Good. All right. So I'd like to show you the Enable Backup software. As you can see in my screen currently, this is a demo environment where I have a few workstations. The majority is server installations, and I also have some Microsoft 365 tenants that we didn't discuss earlier today, but they are available. And if people are interested, maybe we can stick it in the last few minutes. For now, I'll skip that part. What you see here is an overview of these devices and tenants. As you can see, there's different customers, and every customer has its own number of devices or Microsoft 365 tenants, as you can see here as well in my overview. This gives me a powerful sort of helicopter view on what's happening. As you can see, this is a multi-tenant environment. When we started this software, it's always been multi-tenant. That's always the idea. It's built for MSPs from the ground up. And what you see here is different columns. So this will give you an idea if you were talking about servers and workstations, what we're backing up, how big the selections are, and products and profiles and lots of other stuff. I'll go through a few of those in a second. And I have an overview here on if it's completed and if it's recent and all of that. So you can imagine that if everything is healthy, you can tell you right away why that is. And there are 4 in process right now. And you would think like, it's 3 p.m. almost locally there. That's not a good sign. If you do daily backups, yes, I agree. But if you do hourly backups, this could definitely happen. I'll show you that. We have views on the left side in this menu. And these views give me my overview based on the columns that I'm going to see, based on the filters that I'm going to see, based on the sorting that I'm going to see. So for instance, give you an example. If I click on Microsoft 365, I see different information. Suddenly I see Exchange and OneDrive. If I click on Assets, I'm seeing computer name and version and operating system and hardware and software and IP addresses. So you can imagine we have lots of statistics for every line item here, and we can display that in different ways. So what we did is we've played a bit with that, and we changed it into a service level offering in a bronze, silver, gold approach. And this is the exact same software, same buying price, the same thing, but it just depends on how you would organize it yourself. And that's what we did here. We changed it into a bronze, silver, gold, and the bronze is like the basic service level that everyone could offer, should be able to offer. And there are definitely possibilities out there in the market where you could increase the service level to silver or gold. So I'd like to take you through this, and we'll see if anyone has any open questions about that. First of all, you see 17 devices in this bronze environment. The bronze environment is spread over 16, I'll show this here, 16 servers, 1 workstation. There are 16 Windows environments and 1 Linux, that's this Ubuntu machine. I can sort on customer as well, so you have an idea on how many per customer. You can see the servers and workstations and the data sources. So there is no Hyper-V or VMware plugin here. This is all backups. In this case, there are all virtual machines, but it could have been physical machines as well, no problem. And we are all backing up files and folders, the complete files and folders, and the system state. That's the minimal requirement for disaster recovery purposes. In this case, there's no SQL or Exchange server. I'll show you that in another example, but it is possible and it will automatically be included if you like, and also be fully restorable. So that brings you to a certain selection and to a certain use storage on how we want to store the information and how much data we actually need for that. And that's all fine, and this is not going to be different. This approach is going to be equal for all the service levels. There's not going to be a different approach here. There are 3 main things that are different in your service level. Number 1 is, what is your retention policy? And the retention policy in our software consists of 2 parts. It is first of all your product, and in the product you would decide your 30-day retention or 60-day or anything, like you can configure that. And on top of that, you can add what we call archiving. And archives are sessions that we can keep for longer periods, like years, to offer monthly, quarterly, yearly restore points. And as you can see, we didn't enable this. That's for higher service levels, so we have no archive option, and we changed the product into a 30-day retention policy. And I'd like to show you that in the real software. If I go into the real actual backup software on one of these machines, I already prepared that, it's going to look something like this. So you can go into our standard software. This will give you the overview. If you go to restore, it's going to give you a calendar of your last 30 days of backup, all the restore points that you have in that time frame. And you have 1 backup running right after midnight, and that's it. Just 30 days, once a day backup. I'll scroll a bit to the right. The once a day backup is designed because the profile is set up like that. And we suggested here a profile also based on the service levels. The profile does 3 main things for you. The profile standardizes your inclusions. So what is included in the backup, that's important. It's going to make sure that your system state is automatically selected, that you don't forget that if it finds a SQL server, that will be part of the backup. All those things will be decided in the backup. But it's also going to do something else. It's going to standardize on your exclusions. And I'd like to show you the following example. We have a powerful proxy in the middle, and I can launch a page from this specific device I'm now checking. This is, by the way, takes always around 20 seconds. So that's by default that it takes a few seconds. This is going to show me a lot of details from this specific device, also all the VSS writer statuses and all of these things. But what I'd like to show you today is this registry key. The registry key files not to backup. The files not to backup key is one that is maintained and created by Microsoft. It has nothing to do with us. But Microsoft keeps this key up to date based on your installations, and it says don't back up your temporary internet files. And I think most people here would right away agree that's a good idea to skip this, or the swap file, or the Hibernate, or well, you can see the whole list. So this is a good start for us to make your backup smarter and to also reduce the change rate, because of useless data that will just not improve your restore process. So this is good, and we like this and we use this, but this is not good enough. This is a start, but this is only working for Edge and for Internet Explorer. This has nothing to do with Firefox, Safari, or Chrome. It has nothing to do with third-party antivirus that runs on the machine. It has nothing to do with patch management engines that keep downloading cache files that are just standard download from the internet that you don't need for recovery. So this is good, but just not good enough. And therefore, we have a way in our profiles to standardize your exclusions and to just be smarter. Everything we can do to reduce your change rate. Anything you don't have to send, obviously, is a win. And that will benefit in your backup time. It will benefit in your upload. It will benefit in your storage and your retention policy. So it is a very good idea to be smart in that. The third thing we do in a profile is frequency. How frequent per 24 hours are we going to backup? And that is an important one. And as you can see here, we only backup once a day. This is the bronze, the basic level, the start level. And just once a day, that's all it does. Then I'm looking here at files and folder send size and file and folder duration. Those columns are important, and I'm not going to show the SQL, I could, or Exchange, or anything like that. This is the main plugin that sends data, and this is the plugin where you actually can influence the results. So you can see that if I do a daily backup, I'm sending almost 200 megabytes, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less, but that's sort of it. And that is already super efficient. Like in our previous example, in the presentation, we were talking about 500 meg, half a gigabyte. You can do better than that. And if you do that, then based on, first of all, this one goes from the Netherlands to South Africa. That's why it takes a bit longer. And this one goes to Australia. But other than that, these backups are
GG, we lost your sound a little bit.
oh yeah, there was
somehow you got muted. I don't know how.
It says muted, and I just couldn't unmute. But anyway, I'm back. I'm still here. I wasn't lost. Still able to
you finished that having one in South Africa, one in
Australia. Yeah. I figured out it was muted. Yeah. So these backups are already very quick, as you can see. They're just taking 2, 3, 4 minutes, sometimes even not even a minute. And backup runs only in midnight. So in this example, if you run this at your customers, and we have lots of our partners who are not even aware of this, that do this, and the backup you have a serious data issue at your site, at the customer site, you need to go back to last night, because that's what you sold them, that's what you did, that's what you offered. And then you figure out that this backup took 1 minute 39 seconds. And that's a bit of a shame if you have to tell them that versus they lost a whole day of work. So make sure that your software is smart and efficient. That will automatically drop this value, the send size. The send size will directly impact your duration. The smaller it is, the faster it goes. And anything that's fast, you can start talking about increasing the frequency. So it's just free for you to just add that. So that's there's two. So I told you there's three things for your service level, and the first one is retention. The second one is frequency, how frequent per day, and the third one is what are we going to do for restore proof, that we can show that the restore is actually able to work, or that it actually works, or is already booted, cold standby, hot standby. We can do multiple things. What I'd like to show you here is what I added. There's a new part of our software. It's called recovery testing here. And I added the majority of these devices, I added in the recovery testing. And the recovery testing means that you can easily add devices to that plan. There is an extra cost to that, but it's not expensive. And if you add those devices into a recovery plan, Enable is going to restore these machines on a bi-weekly or monthly schedule into a data center from Amazon that we manage. And we're going to create a bootable virtual machine, and we're going to show you that this virtual machine was restored on May 17th at 10:08. And you know this machine was not an image backup. This was a file and folder backup and a system state backup. And we present you here a working virtual machine. I can show you the 2012 server. There you go, May 23, yesterday even, at 1:51. I can show a 2016 server. It was actually running an update, interestingly enough. What it booted, also running an update. And another one running an update. So they boot, they work, they actually do something, and we show you that actually is happening. But that's just your bronze. I'd like to take you through silver. In silver, we have 20 different devices, and the machines here have the same approach for files and folders, system state. This one is also picking up SQL Server automatically, and you can see there's a certain selected size, and that's all fine. But there are a few differences in the process, in this different service level. First of all, we're talking about 60-day retention. We're talking about archives on top of that, and we're talking about a different profile. And the profile is making a backup every 4 hours, and I'd like to show you that here. This backup already made 4 backups today, and from yesterday I have 6 backups available, as you can see. So if the customer had an issue at the end of the day, you can just go to here, and that's it. There you go. There you have the full data of that point in time. So way more backups during the last days, but 60 days, as I told you, so we can go back completely till the 26th of March. But there you see it already. I can go back to the end of the month, but that's not only one end of the month. I can go back to December 2019 in this case. That's when we started this, and there you see it. There's the archive, and it is as easy as that to do a restore from that. It will take a few seconds extra, but I can give you the full restore of 1.5 years ago almost. So there's a massive difference between this and this. This is just a limited once-a-day backup for just 30 days. And I told you in the presentation, 60 days and a once-a-day backup, I think that's a low level. If you can be smarter, why not? If there's another massive benefit with this, I'd like to show you this. I scroll to the right a bit. So the backups are more recent. They're after lunch. PM is after lunch. They are smaller. We were talking about bigger backups, and the average is smaller here. And if the average is smaller, you can see that the duration, like what's the average? 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, probably something like that. That's all. It is, and these are, by the way, not pathetic environments. 4 million files, 3.7 million files, 2 million, 1.6. These are not small empty machines. These are actually pretty heavy used environments. But we do something else. So obviously the retention is different, the frequency is very different, and the recovery is also different. So what we've created is a virtual disaster recovery environment. And a virtual disaster recovery is something you can run at the customer side, or you can run as an MSP somewhere centralized in your own management environment. If you do it at the customer side, for instance, we have customers moving over from Veeam. They had a Veeam repository locally needed for the Veeam software. They would repurpose that with our recovery console. So they would install the recovery console, and the backup is happening in the virtual machine, as you just see in this example. The backup is happening very quick and efficient into the cloud directly, high frequent, with long retention policies. So you are safe in case something seriously happens on that site. You are safe because you're not going to lose a lot of data because that backup is high frequent and complete. But then they have, on the local side, they added a repository, and the repository is the recovery console, and the recovery console is going to do the conversion in a restore all the time. As you can see, all these restores happened earlier today, even after lunch, apart from this one. And you can see that they are all very quick. They just restore. In this case, they restore into a flat file PHDX, so just a Windows image that you can boot in Hyper-V. It's not tested, it's not booted, it's just a restore to a flat file, and that's it. But at least you have the image. So if somebody has an unbootable Windows machine after an update, you already have locally an image that you can just attach to the hypervisor, and there you go. It's that easy. So so the backup is safe offsite. Your restore is even present on site if you want. And we can take that even a level higher. So if we're talking about our gold approach, the gold approach is 17 devices, again, one with SQL here. And so there's 3 running right now in process. You can see they're also very recent. It's now 2:13. I'm in the Netherlands, so that's why we're an hour different from you locally there. If you do hourly backups, the send size, look at this, 6 megabyte, 4, 4, 3. Oh, this is almost ridiculous. The duration, half of them are under a minute. So very quick. We add 90-day retention, and we add a different profile, obviously with the hourly backups. And if you do that, we also added a recovery environment. And the recovery environment runs on a Hyper-V host, in this case. And the recovery environment is continuously doing these restores, and not only doing the restore, but also showing that this machine booted earlier today. Well, this is actually a screenshot from a week ago. That's an interesting one because we didn't update the boot process here, but there we go, 158 today. And then we have a Windows 10 machine, 157, and I've got another 154. Well, I guess you get the idea. So this machine is continuously doing the restores, and not only that, but also mounting them as a virtual machine, booting them, and showing that the virtual machine is actually working as a bootable, workable machine. And this whole process, again, is just taking, well, this one is a bit slower, but still very fast. It does the whole Delta restore, mounting, booting of the machine, and taking a screenshot and then turning it off in all of this time. So it's efficient. Last thing I want to show you today before we go into the questions is the specific part on profiles. Profiles is where we set up the behavior. And if I go into my bronze, for instance, as a basic profile, we state here that if you run in a workstation, and there's a lot of people doing that, we are going to make a backup every X number of hours. It's that easy to change, obviously. We're going to include everything, and we're going to skip your Windows Defender scans. You don't need those. Your antivirus cache files, also don't need those. Your Chrome user data, cache files, your Sentinel-1 data if you have that, Internet Explorer stuff. So we're going to be very specific in stuff you don't need. And we're going to say also system state, if you see it, we're going to make a backup. If you see SQL, we're going to make a backup. If you don't see SQL, because everybody has this profile and the majority doesn't have SQL, it's not failing as well. It just moves on. So, and as soon as you tweak this and made it better, you can duplicate it, give it a different name, and you can just say, we're going to back up every 4 hours, or we're going to back up every 1 hour. It's that easy to work with different ideas and how to approach the market. And not everybody wants to pay probably for your gold approach. That's fair. I get that. But there's definitely customers. If you would say to the customer, what's the value of your, if you have a serious outage at the end of the day and I can restore to an hour ago versus I can restore to last night, what's the value to you? And I think that is a fair question to ask. And then you could also have a more in-depth business discussion about service levels. And reality is that most of our customers, most of your customers, and not only your, but like around the world, are just not aware of all the risks that they actually run. As long as it runs, they're fine. But yeah, they just have no idea how risky sometimes it is, and they also have no idea how much cost is actually involved in restoring a complete virtual machine in case you didn't prepare this or in case you didn't, well, do all the steps in advance. All right, so that is that's the overview for today. I think we're right on time as well. Am I right, Simon?
Yeah, it's perfect. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yep. We see we also have 2 questions.
Yeah, we have a few questions that I already moved to you, and we have a few more questions. Before the break, we have 2 minutes. So I guess let's answer Roman's questions first, and the other questions we will cover in the Q&A session after Maxim.
Yeah, that's good. It's possible where to create backup for. Oh yeah. Okay. So where you can store the customer. So if I'm going to add a customer in the system, I can easily do that in a demo environment. I have to pick where the data is. So if it's in Finland, for instance, the storage by default is going to be in Germany. That's how we organized it. But you could also say, well, it's in Estonia, and then you get the full list of data centers that we support. So you can pick your own storage environment, and Microsoft 365 and servers and workstations are equally spread, so that doesn't matter. It's the same. So I hope that's a good answer, and that's available to every customer in the system. And there's another question about enable to Azure backup, but that is then the enable. I think the central part into Azure Backup. Like Azure Backup is obviously not something we really touch on. It's different software. We don't think it's that powerful, but it's different. So, or Roman, if you can elaborate a bit on that, or we can save that for later today. I'll be available in the roundtable question and answers discussion later today as well.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you, Gigi. We will meet again in less than an hour. And thank you all participants so far for being here. We will have 10 minutes break until next session. And in the next session, we will see Maxim, and he will speak about enable rebranding and that it's not just a name change. So see you in less than 10 minutes.
Hello.
Hey, Maxim.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can. We still have a few minutes for guys to join. If someone went to get some coffee, tea, water, etc.
All right. I think I should remove that, right? Can you see yourself?
I see only a white letter.
No, I mean, can you see go to a webinar?
No.
Window. Okay, nice.
Okay, I guess you can start. Guys should be here.
Great. Well, hello everybody. My name is Maxim, and I am distribution sales manager in Enable. It's possible for Altacom for keeping them happy and making sure that they keep it happy you. So if you guys have any issues with Altacom, feel free to contact me directly. I'm going to talk about several things. First of all, I know that some people still think that we became Enable just to kind of get separated from that incident that happened in December last year with SolarWinds attack. So I'm going to cover that. Then I'm going to show you some roadmap items, which I hope will get you excited. And I think one of the most important things in this presentation is additional resources that you have for all of you to help you to grow your business. So make sure you don't skip the last part. So rebranding. By the way, I hope you like these beautiful colors that we right now have, this purple. To be honest, I initially, at the first look, I didn't like them because they were too unusual to me. But after a couple months, I believe they're just beautiful and I like them a lot. So what happened? Why we right now called Enable and not SolarWinds MSP? This decision was made in summer last year. And the reasons for that were because we are just too different. If you know what SolarWinds Core are doing, they sell primarily enterprise solutions to enterprise customers. They work on a CapEx model. All their sales and support systems are focused on end customers, and they understand only end customers primarily. So we are the opposite. We work primarily with MSPs. We provide products that work on OpEx model, obviously, and we believe we understand MSPs, and we can provide products and other supports to MSP to make sure they're successful. And by the way, we grow much faster than core business, even though we are still smaller, but we grow faster. That's why management made a decision to separate these two companies. So SolarWinds will stay SolarWinds, and MSP division will becoming Enable. And on this slide, it's said that official spin-off is not defined, but I can tell you it's going to happen pretty soon. Like, it's not months, it's like weeks you need to count until we announce that we are fully separated from SolarWinds. And I just want to cover briefly why we chose that funny name, Enable. Mostly because this name did exist in the past, and I believe some of you who are long enough with the company even remember that. So this company was launched in 2001, Enable, and this company was a producer of solution which is currently called N-Central. And in 2013, SolarWinds acquired Enable and decided to make this MSP division. In 2016, SolarWinds acquired Logic Now, which is a vendor for RMM. And since that, we have these two platforms in our portfolio, and these two platforms are going to stay. We're not going to kill any of them because each of them has its own place on the market. We'll like them, we'll love them, and they are our core. So now when we thought, so what would be a best name for the new company, we decided to came back to our roots and become Enable. So that's what we are now, Enable. And yeah, we hope that you like the name. We hope that you like the brand. We know that you like our products, and we promise that we're gonna work hard to make sure we stay on a top level of your expectations. I have some chat here. Question: is Enable a publicly traded company who will have the biggest stakes of ownership? So Enable is right now formally still part of SolarWinds. A split, as I said, going to happen in like several weeks. And yes, we have a plan to become a publicly traded company. As it is a split, I guess majority of stocks will be owned by current owners of SolarWinds, whatever it is. I'm not sure if I know them actually. Hope that answers the question. Oops, wrong window. So I want to jump on what we did on product updates in Q1, Q2. First of all, even though that incident that happened to SolarWinds product, I mean Orion platform, it didn't affect us. Just to make it clear once again, our products were not affected, but it gave us a friendly kick to the butt, let's say, to work harder on security of our products. So we spent a huge amount of time and efforts to make sure that we introduce more and more security features to our products and make them as secure as possible. That's why if you look at like formal features that we introduced, it's not a lot, but just please make sure that we didn't just waste this time. We spent it on making sure our products are more secure than ever, and our product development process is more secure than ever. But still, I would like to highlight several things that we delivered and you should be aware of. So first of all, you can see on RMM and Take Control Mac updates, and this is not just some like one-off release or something. There is a story behind that. There is an idea or plan to become best possible RMM platform for Mac products, and we are working hard on that. Some releases already happened, which delivers features in that direction, and more to come. So stay tuned. If your customers have Mac devices, make sure our products will be the best fit for them ever. On Central, we introduced Intune integration. As you know, Intune is a great technology from Microsoft, available in Office 365, which is like a premium feature. And we introduced integration between Central and Intune. So now you can add Intune devices, you can monitor them, you can apply automation, as Mark Andrea told a couple hours before. So it's a great tool for Microsoft partners, I mean, to use Central. And if you use Central, it's a great addition to you to use Intune as a way to manage your devices. And also quite important is partnership with a DNS filter. I'm going to talk about that a bit later. I think it's a great stuff, and it will allow you to earn more money and make the infrastructure of your customers even more secure. So I'm going to talk about that a bit later. And I want to just highlight themes of our product development for this year, what we are working on and what we want to work on. DNS filtering. I have a couple more slides on that just after this one, so I'm going to cover it in more details. macOS, as I told, there is a plan to become a best possible RMM tool for Mac OS, for Mac devices. We had already releases on RMM on the control part. There was development on a central part. So we believe that by the end of the year, we will be able to tell that our support for Mac devices is on par with what we offer to our Windows customers. Long expected analytics. If you participated in, I believe, the same event a year ago, I think our people from SolarWinds MSP even maybe showed you some demos of future reporting tools that we were about to introduce. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We had some issues with the vendor technology that we wanted to use, and we had to stop that project at the very last moment and started from the scratch. But right now we are again quite close to release, and actually, to tell you the truth, a preview of this new tool in Central going to be available, I believe, in about 2-4 weeks, and I think more customers will be able to see that first in Central and then in RMM later this year. But there's going to be a new tool, great tool, which will significantly increase reporting opportunities in both of our products, RMM and then Central, and I think actually MSP Manager as well. Continuity is a feature related to backup. It's going to be available mostly to our larger customers. So I don't think I'm going to talk about that too much, but just to let you know that we are working on backup side as well and try to provide a peace of mind to our customers using our backup. By the way, I believe the presentation of DJ was great. So if you still think if you want to use our backup or not, yes, you want to use it. So DNS filtering, what is it? Why we're doing that now, and why us? DNS filtering is improved technology of what you, I believe, all know as content filtering. And the thing is, called content filtering is quite, I would say, old technology, a legacy technology. And right now, we believe it's not enough to keep up to date with new threats that are appearing every day. I saw some statistics that every day 30,000 new websites, malicious websites, pop up in the internet. So all technologies which are based on manually updated databases are just not enough to keep, to fight all these new threats. You need to use something automatic. You need to use artificial intelligence. You need to use machine learning. That's what we're going to introduce. That's what we're going to give you as a tool. And why us? We believe it's a great addition to our security portfolio, and that's what our customers need, actually. And you as our partners need that to build the security shield for your customers. Why now? Well, I would say it feels like the moment is just right, because if you look at the market of content filtering and DNS filtering, it's dominated by Cisco umbrella right now, mostly. Number 2, I think it's Webroot, and third one is WebTitan, but it's far below of these two. And if you look at Cisco umbrella, well, they're good. I don't want to say that they're bad, but they are primarily focused on larger enterprise customers, and this is Cisco huge organization with all, let's say, pros and cons, and they are quite costly, I would say. Webroot, at the same time, they are, well, a bit cheaper, but you need to buy their antivirus to be able to use their technology. And as for WebTitan, they still use primarily a legacy technology, which is manually updated databases. And quite important thing, none of them, or almost none of them, have integration with RMM tools. That's what we're gonna have. So we believe that market is stable enough for a long time to be disrupted right now with new great technology, with new great pricing, and new approach, and I mean MSP approach. And that's exactly what we're gonna offer here. So we want to make our product significantly cheaper than anything else on the market. We're gonna offer better support because we are smaller. We can afford better support. Our solution is going to be integrated with our RMM tools, both RMM and Endpoint Central, and we're gonna sell it in MSP-friendly way. So it's going to be your tool to create additional layer of security for your customers. This feature going to be announced very soon. I believe for Endpoint Central it's going to be announced in about 2 weeks or so, if there are no like further delays in the process. And in RMM it's going to be announced, I believe, in fall time. So it's a new revenue stream for you. First of all, it's a new opportunity to get more customers, and it's another tool to protect your customers from the threats and get more credibility in their eyes. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for announcements from our side, and make sure you try it and try to sell to your customers. And I'm gonna cover some more detailed updates on each product. First of all, if you don't know this resource called status.enable.com, I suggest you to visit it, because we publish all our release information there. So there you will find a latest information of what we have released and what features are available right now. And by the way, Brian, a guy who actually runs all these RMM product management, he's a cool guy. He has his own YouTube channel where he posts updates about products. So feel free to look up him and subscribe. So what we are working on, as I said, Apple device management is a big thing right now. EDR upgrades, well, I'm going to talk about EDR a bit later in more details. DNS filtering just covered. Embedded analytics with Power BI. This is something I mentioned in analytics tool slide. That yes, it's going to be Power BI that we're going to integrate to our solution. What we want to release in the future. First of all, common asset inventory with backup. We're gonna make a first steps towards cloud monitoring, particularly with Azure. We're gonna integrate with Intune on RMM side as well, and we're gonna introduce a new thing called attended take control. So just some more details on each of that. DNS filtering, well, I believe I covered enough, so I'm not sure if I want to stop here long, but we inside the company are very excited this new feature. We believe it's going to get a great traction. So try it, test it, and get your customers secure. Analytics. I haven't seen the product yet, but from slides it looks just great. It looks very flexible. It will provide export of data of any format you want. So we believe it's gonna bring us on a let's say high positions in comparison to other vendors in terms of reporting as well, because we internally know that we are great in automation, in monitoring management. Our reporting, sometimes it's good enough, sometimes not. So we want to eliminate all these concerns and make sure that our reporting and analytics abilities are higher than ever and higher than any other competitor can offer. Common asset inventory with RMM and backup. This is actually a first step on a path of integration between our standalone backup and RMM, because as you hopefully know, we right now have two versions of our backup solution. One is standalone, one is integrated to RMM, and integrated works great. I mean, it's you can manage it directly from RMM, but from feature perspective, standalone backup is let's say more feature rich, and we see a potential on that standalone backup, and we're going to develop it further. But we understand that we need a full integration of that standalone backup with our platforms. We already have this integration with N-Central, but as majority of our customers use RMM, we want to introduce such integration with RMM also. So common asset inventory going to be a first step to realize this integration. So on the first day, it will allow you to have the same set of devices both in RMM and backup and automatically see them in both products. Later on, we're going to work on a more tighter integration between these two products. In-tune integration. As I mentioned, we already have it with N-Central. We are working on integration with RMM. I believe quite a few of you actually are Microsoft partners. So I hope you will benefit from this integration as well, when you will be able to offer your Microsoft customers monitoring through our RMM solutions and tighter integration with their Office 365 feature. So happy to see that. And yes, as I said, we are great in monitoring and management devices and infrastructure on premise right now, but we want to expand our footprint towards cloud. And first step would be monitoring of Azure, Azure accounts, of Azure subscriptions. So dashboards which I see here, and you can see here, I mean, they look beautiful, they look great. So I, as you as well, just looking forward to hear more insights from our development team to show us what exactly going to be available there. But yeah, super excited. And last but not least is attended take control. We believe, and actually we know, that there is a demand for a remote control tool which is not fully dependent on RMM, that sometimes you just need to remotely connect to devices which is not under your RMM let's say umbrella. We want to give you this opportunity. So this new tool will be able, I mean, you will be able to use it to connect to devices which don't have RMM agent on it. And by the way, during session, you will be able to install this RMM agent to this device and introduce full-scale monitoring and management to your customers. And your customers will be able to request this remote connection from you. So if they have emergency, they will be able to ping you through the I guess a tray icon and request this remote connection from you. So looks like going to be a great tool. Backup. As I said, we are working on standalone backup very hard, and our first steps is to improve Microsoft 365 protection. Well, we're working both on security side, like a back-end side, but also we want to improve efficiency, just the speed of backup and restore, like a performance. And yeah, I think we just introduced the performance, improved the performance for OneDrive set up to 3 times faster. And I know that latest release allows to backup, I think, SharePoint up to 6 times faster. So our support of Microsoft 365 of backup, Microsoft Office 365 is getting more and more robust. Recovery testing, something that JG just covered several minutes ago. We introduced like second generation of that, which allows you to see much more information of recovery process, how long it takes, what exactly was restored, and so on and so on and so on. So more visibility for you, less time that you need to spend on analyzing your data. And yeah, we're going to work further on Microsoft 365 updates going forward. And last but not least, we are going to introduce a new dashboard for backup. As you can see, we added here a fourth donut on the top, which is dedicated to Office 365 accounts. So from that dashboard, you will be able to immediately see status of your Office 365 backups and ability to restore. Also, we introduce some enhancements to dashboard itself, because we believe less time you spend on managing your backups, less clicks you have to do to see the full pictures, more profitable you are. And idea to make you profitable is, I think, it's a top in the top of our mind, because in general we can grow only if you grow. So we try very hard to make products which are convenient to use by our MSPs. EDR. On EDR side, actually, I want to jump to the next slide immediately. I just want to cover several things. Sentinel-1, as we all know, is a great product. And just recently, they proved it by a couple occasions. First of all, they were evaluated by organization called Mitre, and they evaluated quite a few solutions. And they evaluated several parameters of EDR solutions, like how many steps that malicious software is doing in your infrastructure this particular product can detect, and how many changes to the product itself administrators need to make to detect all these changes from malicious malware. And Sentinel-1 was #1 in all parameters. So it detected just everything, and it didn't require like any adjustment whatsoever to detect all these threats. So that's why they are in a top right corner here. And soon after that, I believe it was a Gartner report on EDR solutions, and Sentinel-1 is also just #1 there. They are in this right top corner as well, like more right than anybody else and more top than anybody else. And we offer, if you know Sentinel-1 set of products, they have, I believe, basic, standard, complete, or something like that, revisions of their product. So we offer basically complete version without, I think, 2 features, which is deep visibility and threat hunting. So we are working right now to introduce deep visibility to our EDR solution. Threat hunting, for now, we're not sure it's like really needed to our MSPs, but we, as far as I know, we're working on a way to give you an opportunity to buy this service as well. So if you didn't try EDR yet, it's a great product. It's better than antivirus, as you all know. If you need more details, we will be happy to provide you that. And Central, as I said, we work on security quite hard, but a couple of things also to highlight here. Apple device management, again, getting better and better, and we also work on scalability of our products. I know that not many of you has like 10, 20,000 nodes, but with latest releases, we make sure that those customers who have this number of devices can easily use our product without a need of getting some additional services or second server or something. What we are working on Central side. First of all, we would like to become like a identity provider for Azure AD, so you will not need to like log in twice. I think it sounds great. Analytic dashboard, the same as in RMM. We embed Power BI tool to our N-Central, and in N-Central is going to be available actually pretty soon, in several next weeks. Actually, well, not available, but let's say in preview mode. And as in RMM, on N-Central side, we also work on discovering, monitoring, and management of cloud infrastructure, and Azure here is a first step. Passportal. Well, I think two-factor authentication, you already saw that. If you use Passportal, you, I believe, already saw it. If you don't use Passportal, it's already there. Feel free to use it. It's more secure than ever. What we are working on? Well, several features here, but from my point of view, most remarkable here are upgrade to articles. I'm going to show it in more details just now, and improved mobile app, because I heard like a feedback from customers that the tool is great. I mean, there is nothing on the market which can be compared with the tool in terms of how handy is it for MSPs. But mobile app was like, well, it's okay, but I mean, could be better. So we're making sure that mobile app is gonna get great also. So upgrade to articles, new editor, version control, ability to use add, sign, to use mentions. So quite a few features to make sure it's even more convenient to use this tool than ever. Search, we're gonna improve our content search in Passportal. And yeah, that's, I think, for roadmap, that's it. And I'm getting running off time, but I still want to cover some things which are not visible from, let's say, just maybe partner level that easily, but these resources are there, they're available, and we would like to use them because we are not just a software vendor. We don't want to become just one more software vendor who produces products and like makes you sell them and earn your margin. We want to become something bigger than that. We believe that we can grow only if you grow, and we develop tools for you, not just the products that you sell, but tools. And we want you to be able to use these tools properly. We want you to know how to use these tools, and we want you to become profitable and get more and more customers. That's how we actually grow. That's why we have all these resources for you. And first of all is our Empower event. This event is going to happen just in about a couple of weeks, June 8th to 11th. Unfortunately, this year it's still online, but event is going to be great. At least looking at the agenda. So I highly encourage you, like all of you, to register for this event and to attend this event. And by the way, you can use this link, which is I put on the slide, but it will be better if you would use a link that Altacom will provide you as a follow-up of this event, because there will be a tracker, and Altacom will like get, let's say, acknowledged for these registrations. It's just a simple agenda for the first 2 days. Just an example to demonstrate you. It will be a variety of tracks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks every day, every hour. And there will be topics from like RMM and central, like technical products, to sales topics, and to some industry leaders, industry experts, consultants, and their insights on the MSP market, on how to sell MSP services, how to earn more money, and so on and so on. So I'm absolutely sure that each of you will find a topic which is interested to him. So please sign up for this event. A resource which is available and it's absolutely free, but for some reason not everybody of you is aware of it. It's our demos. It's live demonstrations that we run several times a day, every week. Just go to this website, enable.com/product demos, and you will see a schedule of all these demos that we run every week. It's absolutely free. Most probably you will be either alone on this session, or there will be like a couple more people maximum. So it's almost like a dedicated session for you only, where you can ask questions, where you can ask specific things to be demonstrated. So sign up, use these demos. MSP Institute. I think it's something which really put us in a different position compared to any other vendor, actually. I mean, I saw several vendors in my life. I know what they're doing in terms of education. None of them is doing that deep and that detailed courses that can train you on literally all aspects of your MSP work. If you don't know how to get there, go to our website, go to Success Center, and then go to MSP Institute. It's pretty simple. And I just want to highlight several courses that you will find here. First of all, product trainings. Pretty straightforward. If you have questions on any settings, on any automation process that you want to make, just find appropriate course from our product portfolio and run it. Mostly it consists of short videos, like 5-7 minutes, but also there are some longer webinars if you prefer that format. And we also have a business trainings, which are divided into several categories, from emerging MSPs to growing MSPs and up to scaling MSPs. If you don't want to take like a full track of this business training, there are some shorter versions, like a shorter, say, tracks for those of you who would like to understand more how to, let's say, sell better or more successfully backup or EDR to your customers, because we understand that, let's say, switch customer from cheap antivirus to more expensive EDR is not easy. So we have a track of courses for you that gives you some tips and tricks how to, let's say, make your customer think about EDR, how to make him try EDR, and how eventually sell him this product. But I still believe that the greatest part is our business trainings, and literally it can guide you from the first moment when you just start thinking that you would like to establish MSP company. It can help you to set up your price model. It can help you to set up a motivation program for your employees. It can help you to set up a help desk that your technicians gonna run for your customers, and up to how to build your NOC. I mean, what are the responsibilities of different functions that should, the people that should work in your NOC center? How to make it? What tools to use? How to route the work? So all, like literally all aspects of your work can be found there. And from my point of view, there are several reasons MSPs don't grow their customer base and don't grow in general. Sometimes they don't have resources, like they don't have people resources to manage more customers. Somehow they don't know how to do that, how to find customers and how to sell more, basically. And sometimes they just don't want, they feel comfortable. So with that third reason, it's hard to do something, to be honest. I mean, yes, if you don't want to grow, well, I mean, we can't force you. But if you want to grow, I'm assure you, we will give you a proper tools to solve all other concerns. How to manage more customers with current level of technicians, how to find new customers, how to sell them more products. All of these aspects can be covered in MSP Institute. And last but not least, if you want a longer session with one of our experts, and Mark Andrea, who had a first session, is just one of them, feel free to sign up for one of our bootcamps. These sessions are pretty long, it's like 3 hours, but it's an interactive sessions where you can bring up your scenarios, your concerns, and together with those experts, try to solve your issues and try to get some insights, what approaches can be taken to solve your particular problems. So a lot of things to be used, and if you don't use them yet, well, either you're a genius or you don't know about them, and that's why I wanted to show them to you, or I don't know. Well, if you don't want to grow, well, it's up to you, but opportunity is just right there for you. And last but not least, promotion from Altacom. We all saw a demo that JG just showed us, and just to remind you that we still have a promo with Altacom, which gonna last until end of June, which gives you quite a nice discount for first 6 months of backup usage. So feel free to use. And by the way, we actually have much more promotions, but Altacom told me not to share them with you because there are different people and different categories and so on and so on and so on. But Feel free to reach out to Altacom to get more information on current promotions which are applicable to you guys. And on that note, I think I'm done. I'm just 3 minutes over time. And happy to take your questions, like either now up to Altacom guys or during Q&A session.
I guess we will do the questions in Q&A session and roundtable discussion. Thanks, Maxim. Awesome presentation. I'll quickly launch a short poll. Guys, please spare a few seconds, answer the poll. And after the poll, we will go directly to look into the awards. I see votes are dropping in quite fast. Thank you guys for voting. I'll close the vote as I see that majority of you did vote already. And I will share my screen. Just a second. Okay. Okay, guys, sorry for technical difficulties. Computer lagged a little bit, although I'm here now. And simply, I just want to remember rewards from 2019. This year was even harder to find out the best partners in each countries and all the awards to give to, because there was way too many guys that was worth it. So hopefully next year we will find a way to present more presents and awards for awesome partners. But remembering last year, partner for Rising Star in Baltics was Atlantic. Partner in Lithuania of the year was Atėja. Growth of the year was, I think, and integrator was Simplit. For Latvia, the partner of the year was IT-On. Integrator of the year was NDD Service. And for Estonia, there was a partner of the year NetCenter, growth of the year Nex, and integrator of the year Digify. So now I guess it's time for our representatives presenting awards for each country. And I will start with Lithuania. We all will do it in mother tongue. So if you are from different countries and don't understand what you're saying, well, sorry for that, but you wanted to say it in our mother tongue. So for this year, Lietuvos apdovanojimuose nusipelnė daugelis įmonių, bet pagrindė tikrai norime pasveikinti dėl labai didelio augimo partnerį GoIT. Prizą atiduosime ateinančią ar dar kitą savaitę, gal net ir gyvai. Taip pat integratorius, MSP integratorius buvo 20 metais įmonė Databank Group. Labai džiaugiamės darbu su jais ir darbu su įvairiom platformom, ne tik Enable. Ir taip pat MSP Partner of the Year apdovanojimus už 20 metus Lietuvoje atitenka Novian Technologies už įvairius projektus ir darbus, kuriuos kartu atlikom. Džiaugiamės partnerystę ir tikrai tikimės, kad kaip MSP auksite ir toliau. Na ir žodį perduosiu kitai šaliai. Tai tik tais pasižiūrėsiu sekundėlę. I see that Estonians are ready here, so I'll give it to Mart.
Okay, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Niisiis, 3 rida eesti keeles. Meil on 2 auhinda Eestisse. Kõigepealt Growth of the Year ehk siis suurim suhteline kasvaja. Selle saab Eestist Great IT. Tegemist noore näljase areneva tegijaga Eesti MSP turul ja meil on väga hea meel, et nad on valinud Enable'i tooted oma teenuste arendamiseks. Ma arvan, et jõuame veel kaugele. Suur aitäh Greibile. Ja teiseks Partner of the Year ehk siis meie kõige lemmikum partner, kuigi me armastame loomulikult kõiki. Aasta partner on Sysop. Oleme jätkuvalt näinud igasugustes oludes, kuidas nad suudavad uute vajadustega kohaneda, vähemate vahenditega rohkem tehtud saada ja ma arvan, et see on suur osa kogu Enable'i filosoofiast. Nii et suur aitäh Sysopile nii Altacomi kui Enable'i poolt. That's it from me, Simonas.
Awesome. Thank you, Mart. And I hope Raivis is here as well. Raivis, are you here?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Well, I guess I'll start with the Latvian straight away. No latviešu puses vēlējos apsveikt 3 diezgan. Uzreiz gribēju pateikt, ka bija ļoti grūti izlemt par balvām, jo visi partneri ir aktīvi strādājuši pagājušu gadu un attīstījušies un meklējuši jaunas veidus, kā palīdzēt saviem klientiem. Bet tomēr vajadzēja izvēlēties 3, un tad sākot ar lielāko izaugsmi, jau 2. gadu pēc kārtas ir detail service. Tiešām ceļi strādā un piedomā, pie kā viņi varētu palīdzēt saviem klientiem un attīstīties, un arī šajā grūtajā no mājām strādājošā laikā viņi spēja izaugt. Integrators MSP kāda ir ITVis. Tiešām ir ļoti patīkami ar viņiem strādāt, vienmēr interesējas par jauniem produktiem, ko var integrēt un kā palīdzēt saviem klientiem un kā izaugt kopā ar saviem klientiem. Un pēdējais, bet, protams, ne mazāk svarīgais ir MSP partners, un šogad mēs izvēlējāmies Cadence. Tiešām vēlos pateikties Cadencei par to domu gājienu, kādu viņi izvēlējās un kā viņi izvēlas attīstīt ne tikai savu biznesu, bet arī kā bīdīt un apmācīt savus klientus, kā strādāt ar MSPs. Tas ir tiešām ļoti patīkami redzēt, kā nestāv uz vietas arī latviešu tirgus, un mēs tomēr kustamies uz priekšu. And that is it, guys. That's from me.
Awesome. So thank you, Mart. Thank you, Raivis. Thank you, all of the attendees. It was a pleasure to have this event today for this year. And next event is on 8th and 11th of June, right?
Empower, yes.
Yes, let's empower our MSPs in Baltic and let's spread the news. Thank you for everyone once again, and bye-bye.
See you, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.